Hello everyone, today we'll be discussing your NSSB 2025 question paper. In this discussion, we're going to do a little in a detailed manner, not in a rushing manner and just giving you the correct option. Let us also discuss the option. Let us also come to a conclusion with proper solutions. And at the same time, let us also understand the pattern in which NSSB is also evolving and the core areas where trend analysis can also be done. Now, first and foremost, arrange the following location in time sequence on the basis of solar noon. This is the first question. Now, if you arrange it, because they're asking you to arrange in time sequence, so from east to west, sun rises in the east. So, Patna is in Bihar. This will be first. Then if you go further, you will find Lucknow in UP. And go further, you will find Jaipur in Rajasthan, then Gandhinagar in Gujarat. So if you look at this, pattern is going as A, B, C, D. So the correct option would be A, B, C, D. Where is A, B, C, D? This is option number D. Now, moving on to question number 2. Which of the following is reclassified as dwarf planet in 2026? Now, International Astronomical Union in 24th August 2026 have declared Pluto to be a dwarf planet. So it is no longer a planet. And why has it done so? It said there are certain criteria that is required to be fulfilled by a planet. For example, structure properly formed, like an oval shape or geoid shape, whatever we call it. Secondly, in its orbit, they should have cleared other competitors, but Pluto has not satisfied all these criteria as well. So for all these reasons, Pluto was removed from the category of being a planet, and now it is a dwarf planet. Now, let's go to question number 3. Which of the following statements are correct? Now, please keep this in mind. Correct. Sometimes they will ask you to find incorrect answers or incorrect options. So please keep this in mind, correct or incorrect. Regarding Indian polity, so 42nd Constitutional Amendment 8 was in 1976, not 74. So this option becomes wrong. Then V.V. Giri was the 4th President of India. Obviously, this is correct. And he's also known for certain controversies. I think your polity classes, this thing should be discussed. Now, option number 3, or C, the Supreme Court propounded the basic structure doctrine of the Constitution in the Kesavananda Bharati case. This is correct. If you know basic structure, it says that certain features within the Constitution of India is so essential to remain, to keep intact the nature of the Constitution, and we cannot remove them even with Constitutional Amendment Article 328. And what are they? For example, we have secularism, right? We have federalism, all these things. These are some examples. The court has given its open interpretation, so in the future they can give more example. Option number D, Justice Harilal Kanya. Now, if you have studied who is the first of this, who is the first of that, you would have realized that Harilal Kanya is the first CGI of India. So if the option is saying second, then it becomes automatically wrong. So the right option is your B and C. So is B and C? This is option number C. Let's move on quickly. Let's go to question number 4. Arrange the following committees in the chronological order of their constitution for examining the provision of local self-government. So local self-government, if you know the article, it is 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. It deals with Panchayati Raj. Now this was given in 1992. Please keep this date in mind, because even here 42nd was in 1976 but given as 74. So such errors can be done to confuse you. Now, first let's do Baldwin Rai Mehta Committee. This committee came into existence in 1957. What did they suggest? Please know their suggestions as well, because if NSSB and NPSC wants to go even deeper, okay, wants to make it even harder, then they would go to suggestions. So please keep this in mind. So they suggested three-tier Panchayati Raj system. So what are the three tiers? First is, please keep this in mind, Gram Panchayat, the lowest. The second level is Panchayat Samiti. The third level is Zila Parishad. Now, second Ashok Mehta Committee, the committee was formed in 1977. And please keep this difference in mind. They suggested a two-tier Panchayati Raj system. So the middle one was removed. Now, third GVK Rao Committee. GVK Rao Committee is also important because in a way they realized the problems regarding administration at the Panchayat level. So this was formed in 1985 and they suggested regular election. They suggested district collector to play a very important role, especially in bringing about administrative reform in the Panchayat level. Now, the most important of all, LM Singhvi Committee. This was in 1986. And this committee recommended constitutional status for the Panchayati Raj institution. So, constitutional status to be given. And because of this, later on in 1992, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act gave constitutional status to Panchayati Raj. So this is what you have to keep in mind. And if you look at the date, 57, 77, 85, 86, so they're already arranged in a chronological manner, A, B, C, D. So A, B, C, D, option number A is your correct option. Now, moving on to question number 5. A child accidentally places his hand on the flame of a candle and quickly pulls his hand away. The flame, remember, the flame, they're asking about the flame, represents A or N. So, see, this is about your spinal reflex. So, this is about withdrawal reflex, and this is controlled by spine. So it doesn't go to the brain. So it is a quick protective reflex. Okay, this protects you from burning your hand or from severe consequences. And this is therefore easily stimulus. Not a hard question, very easy. You could have just used your common sense. Now in question number 6, the Nagas primarily inhabit a mountainous country located along the Patkai range, which lies between. So if you look at Nagaland map, somehow like this, maybe something like this, a very rough diagram. Now here we have Myanmar. You know, we have special administrative zone as well, right, for Nagas. And so there's nothing to do with China, there's nothing to do with Bhutan or Bangladesh. So C becomes your correct option. And you know Patkai range is here, right? Patkai range, they run from north to south. And you know another range, Burial range, they run from east to west, right? So please know all this. This is our basic geography of Nagaland. I think everyone should have done this correctly. Moving on to question number 7. The city belonging to the Vijayanagara Empire and famous as a heritage site for the ruins of the palaces, temples, and the Mahanavami Diba is known as, see, this year in 2025, in UNESCO World Heritage Site, Maratha Fort was added. So because of this as well, UNESCO World Heritage Site became very important. And if you look at this year, you realize that Hampi is one such UNESCO World Heritage Site. And if you have known that, then the name also has to be remembered. They are called Group of Monuments at Hampi. So it was recognized in 1986. So this could have been a very solvable paper. So you have to remember current affairs, and from current affairs, try to relate them to the static portion. That is how you prioritize your preparation. And since they have mentioned Vijayanagara Empire, let's talk a little bit about Vijayanagara Empire. It lasted from 1336 to 1646 Common Era. It was in present-day Karnataka, and since it is mentioned about Mahanavami Diba, let's talk about this as well. This is a platform. It is made of stone. So the figure will be something like this. It will not be a very good diagram, but something like this. Consider this as flat platform. Then consider this as one tire. You're coming up with a step, right? Then it becomes bigger, right? And second, then it becomes bigger, right? So something like this. It is a three-tiered stone platform. This was used for rituals, for dances, for festivals, even for military parades and all that. So if you have even had any idea about this, then maybe you could have gone to Hampi. And this was made by, please remember his name as well, a very important Vijayanagara Empire king. And please know what are the things that he have done, okay? The conquest, Krishna Devaraya, very important guy. So see, whether it's Vijayanagara Empire, whether it is Chola Empire, Maratha, so these are very important. Even Mughal. I know in terms of UPSC, the importance of Mughal have gone down very heavily, but in state exam, we still ask about Mughal, even Delhi Sultanate sometimes. So please know all these things. And while we are talking about UNESCO World Heritage Site, I also want to remember some facts. I want you to remember UNESCO World Heritage Site, we have 44. So please keep this in mind. And if you know all of them, then maybe it would help you in future anything regarding UNESCO. And there's also one mix World Heritage Site, Kanchenjunga. So those unique things you also have to keep in mind. Now let's go to question number 8. 16th Finance Commission of India is headed by which of the following economists? This is also very easy. It has been in news for the past 1 year. Option number B, Arvind Panagaria. In my in Toppers Academy, when I was taking your prelims crash course, I was taking your economy, polity, and general science, right? So even in your polity as well, in relation to Article 280, I discussed about Finance Commission, about devolution, how states get their money from the center. So when we were discussing this, I also told you to look about 16th Finance Commission. So if you have attended my class seriously, maybe this would have been so easy for you. It's like giving you a mark freely. Now question number 9. What is the meaning of the Angami Naga word Kena, from which Jina originates, right? Forbidden. These things are very easy, static portion. The Morung was a key institution in Naga society of the past, primarily serving as a youth dormitory, right? Now, also keep in mind we have male dormitory as well as female dormitory. It is not only male exclusive. And the marketplace, nothing to do with this, nothing to do with this, none of this, obviously, it is an answer. So your right answer is option number A. Moving on to question number 11. Consider the following statement regarding greenhouse. Now, if you know about greenhouse, let's make a rough diagram. It is made of a glass. So this first becomes correct. Now, see, you have heard about greenhouse effect, right? So we have greenhouse gases like CO2, most popular example. So if this is Earth and Sun gives out shortwave radiation, and it hits the surface of the Earth and this heat energy is released as long wave radiation. So please keep these basic differences in mind. So option number B says the greenhouse is transparent to outgoing long wave radiation. Now this long wave radiation is your heating radiation, and in greenhouse we are trying to achieve heating. So if this long wave radiation goes out, then what's the point? This does not make sense, so it becomes incorrect. Look at option number C. The glass prevents shortwave radiation going outside. It prevents. It's saying it prevents. So it is wrong. It will allow, because shortwave radiation is not needed. Now, option number D. The temperature inside the glass house structure is warmer than outside. Obviously, we are trying to achieve greenhouse effect in the greenhouse. So this is also correct. So A and D. Where's A and D? Option number C. These are things that if you have seen at least a greenhouse once in your life, you could have done easily. Moving on to option number C. This is not something I've done, okay? This was taken from someone else, so please do not confuse yourself. Now, first of all, you have to list the main river with its tributary. So this is a river, main river. If one river comes here, this is one tributary, another tributary, like that, right? So we have left bank tributary, we have, now this is, if it is flowing in this direction, this will be a right bank tributary, this will be your left bank tributary. So they're not asking specific left bank, right bank. Sometimes they can go down to those finer details, so please keep that in mind. So Indus is Janskar, no problem, all the way up in Ladakh. Ganga is Koshi, towards the Bihar side. Krishna is Bhima. Kaveri is Amravati. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Where is 1, 2, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Option number C. Please know the major rivers. Please do this. When you are doing major rivers, few things to keep in mind. 1, please know the source. 2, know the tributaries. 3, know where it is draining. And 4, know some important dams, if any. So, and see, in source, if there are glaciers, please know the glacier's name as well. So these are a few things you have to remember when you are doing major rivers. Now moving on quickly. So question number 13. Okay, this is very interesting. I find this to be very interesting, and it can be hard or easy depending on your awareness. Who was the President of India when the 100th Constitutional Amendment Act of India was promulgated? Now, it may seem impossible for you to solve the paper if you don't know the fact, but I'll give you a strategy. See, this is called elimination method. So to eliminate, you have to know and use your common sense. It all boils down to having common sense. So firstly, K. R. Narayanan. How is this related to 100th Constitutional Amendment? Because the latest Constitutional Amendment is 106th. You have heard of Nari Shakti, right? So this was about 1/3 reservation for women in Lok Sabha, State Legislative Assembly, and all that, right? So this was the latest. And who was responsible for this? Draupadi Murmu. And please remember, in the tenure of Draupadi Murmu, there was only one constitutional amendment. So Draupadi Murmu also naturally gets removed. K.R. Narayan, this guy was in 2000, started from 2000. So in the beginning of the 21st century, he was our president. So Ramnath Kovind and Pranab Mukherjee. This is where you have to deduce yourself to. Now, you have to also keep in mind that constitutional amendments are very difficult to do it. And during Ramnath Kovind's tenure, there was 103rd Amendment Act. This was regarding your EWS reservation, 10% reservation. Now, and if you have been keeping, see, I think you should have known this. 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. This is regarding your GST. And this was done during the tenure of Pranab Mukherjee. So obviously, there's high chances that 100 will also be during the tenure of Pranab Mukherjee. This is how you eliminate using common sense. You just don't eliminate using random method. You have to use whatever facts you have in mind and deduce them to logical conclusion. So 13 is A. 14. Which article of the Indian Constitution states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states? In my prelims crash course as well, I have told this properly. I was talking about state reorganization as well and incorporation of territory. So this is obviously Article 1. And also I've told you to study about states. I told you to study about when it was formed, the date, the year in which it was formed, various states that were formed. Because reorganization is very important. Article 3 is very important. If you have done that, you would have done this easily in a blink of an eye. Question number 15. The most abundant element in the universe. When I was talking about your general science, I was talking about abundant element as well. So this could have been very easily done, hydrogen. Now soap are sodium and potassium sulfate. See, if you remember, I took this in your last portion, and I said without completing this, I cannot end the classes. And so I took extra time and even discussed about sulfonification. And here I clearly told you there are sodium or potassium sulfate fatty acid. If you have been attentive, direct question were coming from the prelims crash course. Now question number 17. Who was awarded the Peter Thangaraj Player of the Championship in the 78th edition Santosh Trophy? See, you have to study trophy and awards. This are very obvious part. Santosh Trophy, very important. Even there are also very important trophy in cricket as well and other sports. You have to keep that in mind. And even awards regarding literature and all, you have to keep those things in mind, even regarding science and tech. So if these are just facts. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't know. So please study these things. Just preparing for a state exam. So it is B. Now, if you sometimes they can even ask, final was played between which country? Such things, no? West Bengal versus Kerala. And he belonged to West Bengal. So if sometimes they can even add in terms of sentences, like the previous question you have seen, they can say the award price was 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, right? Whatever it is, the correct answer is 1 lakh. So please do these things properly. Now question number 18. The most distinctive objects / artifacts of the Indus Valley civilization are? See, what are they asking? Distinctive. Distinctive means something unique. That means in other civilization, you would distinguish your Indus Valley civilization with other civilization by those particular objects or artifacts. Now beads, there was no distinguishing feature. Pottery, obviously it was important, but in other civilization too, you could find it. Tools like bronze, copper, they was also found in other civilization, but in seals, various animals that were used, Pashupati that was found. All this was unique to Indus Valley civilization. So option number D becomes relevant. Now, question number 19. 1 second. The Union Budget 2025 increased the sectoral cap of foreign direct investment to 100% from 74% for. So what they were saying is, earlier the sectoral cap was 74%. Please listen carefully, and it increased to 100%. Sectoral cap means, let's say for FDI investment, foreign investment is coming to India. Now, in this, we have various concerns. If foreign investors have majority stake in sensitive area, then it becomes critical for a country like India. So we have to check properly and put limits. So as a economy that is opening up to the world, we have stopped keeping such caps in unnecessary sector which are not of huge importance for national security. So if you look at this, they were also asking not only about 100%, but they're asking in 2025, particularly in 2025, which sector was increased. I'll tell you this. If you look at defense sector, automatic route is not 100%, but 74% only in defense. And through government approval, you can increase it to 100%. No problem, but government has to cross-check it properly. And another thing is, telecom sector also 100% is allowed. But it was not in 2025. In power sector also 100% is allowed, but it was not increased in 2025. In 2025, insurance sector was increased to 100% from 74%. So you have, this question is very specific. So please keep this in mind. Do not be confused. Question number 20. Choose the Mahalanobis plan from the following. You see, earlier when I was doing your economy in your crash course, obviously I should have taken your budget, but I got only 1.5 hour class, so I could not complete it. But at the same time, this should also be part of your current affairs, because it changes every year. Budget changes every year. Now, when I was discussing 5-year plan, I told you some 5-year plans that were important. And in specific, I even gave a proper discussion on Mahalanobis plan. So you should have known this was second 5-year plan if you are attentive in the class. And at the same time, I've given you a table. And I've made a proper distinction. What was which 5-year plan? What was the target? What did they achieve? What was the objective? Who was the person who gave the model of that 5-year plan? Everything was done properly. So if you have studied that, this should have been very easy for you. Question number 21. Which of the following sets of articles govern the legislative powers between the union and the state? See, when I was taking your polity class, I told you to do about parts. There are 25 parts, right? I also told you in the beginning in 1950 how many parts were there, how many articles were there. If you have been attentive to the class, maybe these things would have been so easy for you. So I told you to study parts. Now in these parts, if you were attentive and you actually studied, you would know part 11. Part 11 deals with relationship between union and states, and it was from article 245 to 263 if you're attentive in class. Then we're talking about relationship between union and state. And what are they saying? Legislative power between union and state. So if you have used your common sense, then within this article itself, this will also be there. So option number B becomes your correct option. So these are things you have to deduce. You cannot study direct for everything. For the things you have already studied, from the things you have studied, you can come down to your answer. Please use those things. Now, this is a direct question. This is something you should buy out. I told you first of everything should be remembered. So obviously this is option number C, Justice Pinaki Chandra Ghosh. See, Sanjeev Khanna, he was the Chief Justice recently. So obviously only these three is to be chosen from between these three. Now, this is also very common in competitive exam. Moroccan traveler who wrote a book called Rila describing India in the 14th century. What was his name? Ibn Battuta. There was nothing to discuss here. If you have taken your history properly, then this shouldn't be a problem. Now, let us discuss a little bit about Ibn Battuta. See, this guy, he came in around 1333, and he was part of the this was during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is also considered to be one of the greatest among the Delhi Sultanate. So during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he came, and he was also made a judge in Delhi. Judge, they're called Qazi, right, in Urdu. Now, so he was also given such an important post, and in his book he described about the condition of Delhi at that time, or the condition of India as it was during Delhi Sultanate at that time. So he said it was very populated, there was full of opportunities. He even talked about caste system that was existing, sati system, the slave system, and even talk about the postal system, how humans would run and the horse would run to deliver quick delivery of postal system, right? There would be points where they would deliver from one point to another, making it more efficient in the postal delivery system. So in your history class, these things should have been taught. This is a very important figure. Now in 24, moving on quickly, see this, I will tell you, if you are confused here, then I think it is your own mistake. The sepoys revolted because they were made to bite bullets which were greased with cow and pig fat. This refers to which of the following event? See, 1857 revolt. See, they have written Kranti, rebellion. It does not make any difference. Okay, so please do not be confused by change of word. And this is the immediate reason, right? There are also some structural reasons as well. 25. Option number 20, question number 25. On January 6, 2025, this is part of your current affairs. If you know, you know. If you don't, then obviously we cannot help it. But even if you don't know, if you know about economy properly and about institutions properly, you could have easily used your common sense to come to a logical conclusion. See, FIU India signed an MOU with which of the following organization to combat money laundering and terrorism financing? In which sector? In insurance sector. CB is to do nothing with insurance. RBI has nothing to do with that. RBI is a Reserve Bank of India. The bank, the central bank, is considered a central bank. SEBI will do with stock exchange, right? It has nothing to do with insurance. Now, even Niti Aayog, it's a planning committee. So, if you just use those elimination method, you could have come down to IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. So I keep saying, even in the post that I gave before your exam, I told you, trust your guts, don't complicate it, and use your common sense in exam. So if you have used those things, you could have easily solved this question. Now, let's go to question number 26. Which of the following countries are members of Quad as of 2006? Quad, the Quad, it has always been in news for the past few years, and it is also very important because in Indo-Pacific, there is a rise of China influence, and there is also a threat to rule-based order. Right, so to maintain the rule-based order, Quad was formed. And since we are countering China, why would China be involved in any of it? France is way up in Europe. It has nothing to do with it. So the only thing remaining is B. India, Australia, US, and Japan. Now going to question number 27. Extracts of which of the following, and see, even Quad as well, where the meeting was held, the summit was held, please keep the track of it. Is it coming to India? Was it supposed to come to India? Why was it delayed? Right, all this, you have to know these important facts as well. 27. Extracts of which of the following plants found in Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh have been successfully used in anti-cancer drug? See, this is very disappointing because this is a very old news, but they are still using that old news to make it state services are something like this. So it's kind of disappointing, but you just have to go with it. Banyan, see, which terrain is given? Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. This is in your Himalayas. Arunachal is part of your eastern Himalayas, right? So banyan you will not find in such high terrain. Pine and spruce, they are part of Pinacea, same family. So maybe if you have used those deduction, you will not be sure, but you could have taken a risk here with Himalayan yew. Now, option number, question number 28. In India, people migrate in large number. Please, when you are reading the question, please pay attention and also look at the nonsense that are given, the finer details within it. In India, people migrate, so we are talking about migration in large number due to poverty, right? High population pressure on the land. On the land means they're talking about agriculture. You're not going to go to Delhi and see agriculture, right? You don't go to Delhi to do farming works. You go to take up works in manufacturing sector, service sector, all that. So lack of basic infrastructure. In metropolitan city, basic structures are there. So what are they talking about? They're talking about rural India. And they are migrating because of this issue. So they are going to migrate to urban area. So see, rural to rural doesn't make sense. Urban to urban also does not make sense. You have only these two options. And if you read properly, it comes down to C. This is too easy. I think anyone, even though they have no idea about poverty and migration, they could have done this. Question number 29. In the 1960s and 1970s, India successfully made itself self-sufficient in food grain production and reduced its dependence on food imports. What was this development called? You must have all heard about Green Revolution. See, Green Revolution was successful, but it also had a lot of drawbacks. So please study Green Revolution properly. They can even ask in your mains, especially people who are preparing for NPSC and NSSB together, right? So from NPSC mains point of view, Green Revolution becomes very relevant because today we are even struggling or suffering from the side effect of Green Revolution. Sometimes we think they're only good, right? So Green Revolution, it took place in about 1967 to 1978. You have also heard about M.S. Swaminathan, right? So M.S. Swaminathan, he was responsible for bringing Green Revolution. And in Green, see, when people ask you what is Green Revolution, you will just say, oh, food security. No, what was Green Revolution? What was done in Green Revolution? Core areas of their focus was, first they brought in high-yielding variety seeds. High-yielding variety seeds means seeds that were hybridized and then productivity was increased, so their yield was increased. Earlier, if let's say a bundle would produce certain kilos, then they would have increased kilos of production. That is very important. Even stem, they would make it even stronger and more resilient. So all these things, water consumption will also be reduced. So there was such modification done. Secondly, for agriculture, we need irrigation. And there was a lot of machines that were brought in, mechanization, right? So machines were brought in. So these were the focus in Green Revolution. And please also keep in mind, this was successful more in North India, in states like Punjab, Haryana, and even in UP. But in UP, to be more precise, they were more successful in the western part of UP. So please keep this in mind. Study Green Revolution properly. Let's go to question number 30. Which of the following artists popularized Hindustani music through sitar around the world by collaborating with Western artists? So Hindustani music through what? Through instrument called sitar. Ravi Shankar. See, Ravi Shankar, this is also old news in that sense. But still, they're using it. No doubt we have to keep this in mind. They're important personalities. So a few things to remember about Ravi Shankar. See, he collaborated with Western artists. You all have known about Beatles, right? He even collaborated with one of the members of Beatles. He even won, in fact, Grammy Award. He even got the Lifetime Award in Grammy. And in 1999, he received Bharat Ratna, the highest award, right? So highest civilian award. So it is a very old news, but they're still asking it, no doubt. But I think this is a very common personality. You could have done it. Now, 31. The ability of metals to be drawn into thin wire is known as, in your class I've done this in your crash course. Being ductile, right? Malleability means converted into thin sheets, right? Brittle means broken easily. Sonorous means making sound, right? So an object, 32. An object is falling from a height h. After it has fallen a height of 0.5 h, it will possess. Now, this cannot be done by everyone, but I did tell you about what a kinetic energy and what a potential energy is, right? It has gone through half. It has fallen to 0.5 of the height. So if you solve this, maybe the most appropriate answer would be C, half kinetic energy and half potential energy. Okay, but this, not everyone can do it. Now, question number 33. Name the states and year of formation. See, when I was doing article 3, I told you to do this, to remember all the dates. If you have done it, well and good. Everyone will know this, Telangana and Jharkhand. But look at the option. D is 2. So see, similarities here. The next is 4. So right. So at least you have to know about Haryana and Gujarat as well. So Gujarat, Bombay became Maharashtra, Gujarat in 60, and Haryana in 66. Haryana was after Nagaland, 1963. So if you know this, you would have done it properly, easily. So the correct option for 33 would be C, right? Please know other states as well. They will not ask the same states. There are many states. 34. Who was the head of the Union Constitution Committee of the Constituent Assembly of India? See, don't get confused with drafting committee, okay? We're talking about Union Constitution Committee. Union, regarding union, was Jawaharlal Nehru. I also told you to do about committees, right? I also told you to study about the sources of the constitution. I also told you to study about who was the first minister in independent India. So in interim also, who were the ministers, what portfolio did they hold. These things are very basic. You have not entered core politics, just the introduction part of the constitution. You could have solved such important and easy question here. Question number 35. On January 3, 2025, which department launched the revamped banknet e-auction portal? See, even if you have not known the answer, if you have used a little bit of common sense, because this is very factual, if you know, you know, but there is possibility for deduction. Now, banknet, so it has to do something with banks, and in India we deal with banks regarding we generally deal with public sector banks only, right? Most of the time when we discuss in economy. And now we're talking about e-auction. That means you're auctioning something. So in this regard, what we should have done is, revenue has nothing to do with banking, expenditure has nothing to do with banking. Maybe if you're confused with economic affairs, it makes sense, but it still doesn't. Financial services, right? We're providing regarding banking services, inclusion. Department of Financial Services take care of this. So C becomes your correct option just by looking at this. Now, let's also discuss about this portal, what this portal does. So let's see, in public sector banks, there are many NPAs, right? NPAs means non-performing assets. What this asset is let's say somebody have taken a loan from the bank and they could not, a company has taken a loan from the bank and they could not return the money. So the bank would seize their asset, and the seized asset would be auction, right? They would be auction, they will be sold. So the highest bidder would buy it. See, even in cars, cars also, banks would seize it and they will auction it. So if the car is even, let's say 20 lakhs, sometimes they sell it even for 10 lakhs. So people in auction, they actually benefit sometimes. So this is what banks does with NPAs in this case as well. Moving on to 36. On January 20, 2025, Donald Trump was sworn in as the presidency. Very controversial guy, right? You should know about these things. And even in last year NSSB, I think they were asking about who is that? JD Vance, right? So you should know that American politics is also asked in NSSB. So if you have kept that in mind, you would have easily answered this question. Now moving on, 47, right? Moving on to question number 37. In which of the following category of Human Development Index is India group? Now this is a very specific one, but if you have taken a risk here with common sense, you would have still answered it properly. It's a risky thing to do, but you could have attempted. Now high to no chance. No, first, very high, no chance. Our condition as a country in human development, we still have a long way to go. High also, less probable. Very low also, no, we are not that low, we are not that bad. So medium makes sense, right? Now, even if we go to factual analysis, in 2023, that was the reference they took. India ranked 130 out of 193 nations in the Human Development Report. This report is given by United Nations Development Program, or simply UNDP. Now in this, they have made HDI, Human Development Index classification, okay? In this classification, it says low would be between less than 0.50. Medium would be 0.50 to 0.699. And a high would be 0.700 to 0.799. And obviously very high would be anything greater or equal to 0.800. So this was the classification. And in 2023, India, our Human Development Index point or score was 0.685. So we are still in the medium category because the highest upper limit is 699. But we are reaching very close to reach in the high human development. So maybe in the next few years, we'll reach high. So keep a track of these things. So the correct option is A. Question number 38. This is part of your static. When anyone teaches you environment, if they don't teach you about Rio Convention, then they have not completed their preparation. Even Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, these are very important. Conference of Party does not make sense because conference of parties can be for many types. For example, UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. They also have conference of parties. Even United Nations Convention for Combating Desertification, they also have conference of parties. Even United Nations Convention for Biological Diversity, they also have conference of parties. So this option is eliminated anyways. So it is between the remaining three. Let's discuss about Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol was done to mitigate the temperature rise in the atmosphere, because climate change was happening, global warming was happening. So Kyoto Protocol was the first to bring about this. They also brought an idea about carbon trading. Now even India, we're starting to do carbon trading. Then a revamped version of this, because this was too intensive and too rigorous and it could not be achieved. So a new one was introduced, Paris Agreement in 2015. So same thing, we are trying to make sure that in this century we don't cross 2 degrees Celsius in increase of temperature. So a maximum of 2 degrees Celsius should increase comparing to pre-industrial level. Pre-industrial level. So pre-industrial level means when industrialization began in 50s to 1900, right? In between those time till the end of the century. But ideal is 1.5 degrees Celsius. If we can keep it at 1.5, it would be ideal, but maximum, we should not increase our global temperature by more than 2%. This was the target. So this was all regarding climate change. So there's nothing to do with Global Forest Principle, Agenda 21, nothing to do with that. Now, if you have done Rio Convention, you would have realized that this was done in 1992. This was before the advent of 21st century. And now the convention was held, and we said we need to protect our forests. We need to ensure that climate change awareness is done, that people should know the impact of climate change, about biodiversity losses as well. So Agenda 21 means agenda of the 21st century. So 21 refers to 21st century. So with the coming of the 21st century, what are the agendas we need to take up for sustainable development? It was done in New Rio Convention. Now moving to 39. The 20th century campaign at Champaran, Ahmedabad and Kheda marked the emergence of which leader? This is too basic. Mahatma Gandhi. When you are starting with your Gandhi and when you are starting with your freedom movement, then these are the first movement that you would see. So I don't think you should be confused. And one more thing I'll also point you out for you to remember. Champaran. This is where Gandhi first started his civil disobedience. So Champaran is also considered as the first civil disobedience movement. Please keep this in mind. Here, you all know about Indigo, what happened, what were the taxes that were imposed of them, right? And Ahmedabad, in Ahmedabad, it is Ahmedabad mill strike. So this was the first strike that was conducted by Mahatma Gandhi. So these are also additional information you should keep in mind. NSSB will not just keep asking such simple question. They will go even deeper. Statement-oriented question can come in this. Let's talk about 40. The war between India and Pakistan resulted in the creation of Bangladesh. When was the war fought? See, this is too common. Everyone should know this. This is one of the greatest achievements of India. Now, you have heard about Sam Bahadur. If you have watched that movie, this would be very easy for you. You see, that is why watch movies that are relevant for your examination. Recently, a new movie came out, Haq. Watch this movie. This was regarding triple talaq. So how triple talaq was banned in India, right? How Muslim women, Saab Bhano case. This is all part of your Saab Bhano case in your polity. So watch movies that are, related to your exam. Question comes like this. So if they've asked date, now it would have been more problematic, but it became so easy, December. And Sam Manekshaw has explained why December was chosen for India, to prevent monsoon, rain and all that, right? So watch the movie, refresh your mind. And it lasted only for 13 days. When India intervened, it lasted only for 13 days. It was from 3rd December to 16th December. Right, and the famous one, 93,000 soldiers surrendered. This was also a very popular fact. Keep those things in mind. Question number 41. Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar, important award. I think you should have all done this, and I believe every one of you have done this correctly. Under the category of Vigyan Ratna award was given to. So, see, this award is, one second. This is not 2025. This is for 2024. So also keep those things in mind. Now, in this is regarding science, this is regarding innovation, this is regarding technology. So for people in science-oriented works who have done wonderful job, they are given this award. Now in Vigyan Ratna award, this is for lifetime achievement. Right? This is not for the specific year, this is for lifetime achievement. And in 2024, it was given to Professor Govindarajan Padmanabhan. Now he was also he is a renowned biochemist. So regarding molecular biology, biotechnology, he did a wonderful job. Even regarding malaria parasites as well, he studied properly. So you all have heard about IISC, right? He was the director there. So a very popular guy. And Vigyan Ratna Award, like I've said, This is for lifetime contribution in science. There are also other categories you should also keep in mind. We have, like we have Vigyan Ratna, we have Vigyan Shri, right? We also have Vigyan Yuva for youth, right? And also for team, which is Vigyan team. So remember those sub classification as well. Even for 2025, please know the person who have won the 2025 award. He was regarding physics, right? And it was posthumous. This year it was given posthumously. That means after a person have died, the award was given. His name, just to keep in mind, Professor Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. So I said this guy was for physics and cosmology. 42. Which of the following is a non-renewable source of act? Please, basic things. Which one is non-renewable? Which means they are not renewable. Solar is renewable, this is renewable. Some people may get confused here. But coal is non-renewable. See, renewability means you cannot renew. It can be renewed quickly. Okay, non-renewable means it takes too long. It can still be renewed, but it takes too long and it's not feasible. In biomass, we're using crops, we're using organic matter, we're using waste. These things can be regenerated. So biomass is also considered to be renewable energy. Please keep this in mind. 43. Who among the following was the first defense minister? I told you, first minister, their portfolio of independent India. If you have done that, very easy. Option number D, Baldev Singh. 44. Which of the following surface wind blows in a particular direction in one season but reverses in the other? Right, you know monsoon. Monsoon reverses. It goes and it comes back. In any competitive exam, monsoon plays a very important role. Okay, so you have to know ins and out of monsoon. The dates should also be remembered. Please keep this in mind. And also the science behind it. Northeast becomes southwest. How so? Coriolis force that are involved. Right? Please know these things. So this is monsoon. If I explain monsoon, it will be one hour. Which one of the following crops is grown in the Rabi cropping season in India? So Rabi cropping season is for winter, and you all know it is wheat. These are all Kharif. Cotton, Bajra, Tur, they are all Kharif. Now, Niru Miru, Water and You program was started in which of the following state? This is also a very old news. Very old news. I don't know why this is asked. I seriously don't know why this is asked. But anyways, they are asked, so we have to know the answer, obviously. It's Andhra Pradesh. I don't want to even explain these things, okay? It was way in 2000, so I don't know why they are asked. You know, Andhra Pradesh has also drought and water scarcity issues, right? That is why even water disputes is also high in those river disputes. Water sharing disputes are there in such states. So these things are there. This is not important, and I don't know why they asked. Then 47, the Indian constitution shapes the world's largest democracy. When did the Constitution of India come into force? See, when I was talking about constitution, I told you, when did the constitution come into force, and at the same time, when was the constitution enacted? Right? Those are two different dates. So into force was 1950, but enacted in 49, right? 26th of November. So know these two differences. These are one of the favorite parts in competitive exam. They keep asking this type of question. Where was the Gramin Bharat Mahotsav 2025 inaugurated? If any one of you has stayed in Delhi for even a year or two, you will realize that Ramlila Maidan, there's nothing to do with convention. Why would anyone hold a convention in India Gate? Pragati Maidan also doesn't make sense. Bharat Mandapam. Bharat Mandapam has also been in news. This was created to hold such big conventions, right? International or domestic. So Bharat Mandapam, just by using common sense, even if you don't know the answer, you could have come to the answer. And if you are to know something about Gramin Bharat Mahotsav 2025, this was initiative of Modi, and you know our Prime Minister keeps talking about Viksit Bharat. Viksit Bharat means developed India by 2000. Our target is 2047. So 100 years of independence. That time we should become developed country. That's the target. So even in this, in rural part of India, we should also have that awareness. We should also have issues, regarding rural infrastructure, financial inclusion. Agriculture should also be sustainable. And Northeast was also given a special focus in this Mahotsav. And the theme was building a resilient rural India for a Viksit Bharat 2047. So these are a few things if you are to keep in mind. Viksit Bharat, very important. Anything to do with it, please keep a close track. 49. What is Linotu according to Naga ancestors? Yeah, if you have studied any standard book regarding Nagaland, this should have been easy, right? This was the regarding three stone monolith erected by the ancestors of the Nagas at Makrai Rabu, or Makel in short. So you know about the three stone monolith. There are three stones in Makel, right? And they say one is for one resembles tiger, the other represents man and spirit, right? Know these names also, they can ask what are the representation. Now this resembles the flora and fauna. Tiger represents flora and fauna. Man, they represent human society. Spirit, the spiritual world, right? So a holistic thing. 50. Where have the Nagas usually built their villages? Now, as a Naga, if you don't know this, then I don't know. If you go back to your villages, especially the indigenous villages, then you realize they are all in the mountain tops. There are various reasons for this. Firstly, main is the security reason, because back in the days, headhunting was very popular. So you need to protect yourself from rival villages and also from external forces. And also in the plain area, there were so many diseases, right? Malaria and whatnot. And we did not have the scientific edge to deal with them. So river valley, no chance. We don't have coastal plains, so how does this come? Urban center, we don't have. So the only option left is A. Everyone should get this right. 51. Initially in 1950, how many articles were there in the Constitution of India? When I was doing your polity, I actually gave this fact to you very clearly. I said that in 1950, even in your crash course, I took it very quickly and all the important facts was given. In articles, there are 395 articles during 1950 at the time of the formation of the Constitution, right? And we had 22 parts and 8 schedules. But obviously with constitutional amendment 328, article 328, everything will increase. Now we have 448 articles, please remember. And in terms of parts, we have 25 parts. You have to know all the parts. You have to know all the schedules. We have 12 schedules. So what it existed originally and what is the current state of affair, please keep this in mind. 448, 25 and 12. Easy number. All easy number to remember. 50, okay, next is 52. The provision in the Constitution of India for maintaining residual power in the center is inspired by which of the following country's constitution? See, I told you sources of constitution. Please study this. They keep asking sources of constitution. Know all the sources. Emergency provisions were taken from which country, and even various other things, fundamental duties is taken from which country, parliamentary nature of the government is taken from which country. All these things you have to keep in mind. So here it's Canada, option number A. 53. Which initiative in India revives ancestral wisdom galvanizing citizens towards water conservation. So this is basically talking about rainwater harvesting, the traditional method that was used. So if you look at this, Jal Jeevan is to do with reaching tap connection, right? Swachh Bharat is cleanliness, and so the only one left is Catch the Rain campaign, which makes sense, right? 53 is Catch the Rain. Now also keep in mind, for various states they have their own traditional such conservation technique. So know what in which state. And even for Nagaland, since we are talking about our state, you should also know about Nagaland, Zabo, right? And sometimes instead of writing Zabo, they can even write Ruza. So don't get confused. They're one and the same. So if you go to Pek district, this is practice in Pek district. In Kikruma village, it is popular because they lie in the rain shadow area. So in a pond, they will collect it, and um, the water will flow down slowly. Even during scarce water season, cattle can also be fat, right? Even paddies, the terrace farming would also be sustained through this. So very interesting thing. Please watch. There is also some YouTube videos of Kikruma Zabo system being practiced. Please watch them. 54. Which of the following areas saw significant production and investment momentum in the financial year 2025? Now, this answer I cannot give you. I'm also not very sure, okay? Because I cannot predict it. But according to me, the answer that makes sense would be manufacturing firm, because we saw an increase. Now manufacturing is not very strong in India, but still then our base is very low. So comparing to the base, if we increase, it becomes very high. So manufacturing makes sense. You also know of production link incentive, right? This is to boost manufacturing. This was always in the news. FDI is also increasing. We're opening up FDI for manufacturing firm. So manufacturing makes sense, but cross-check it in the final result. 55. The Naga territory within India is divided among which of the following states? Very easy. Mizoram has nothing to do with Naga territory. Tripura, nothing to do. Meghalaya also. So option D makes sense, right? Arunachal, Assam, Manipur, and Nagaland. 56. In the Ao Naga language, what does the word lim means? See, you also know about Naga lim, right? So Naga land, right? So land. Even if you're not Ao, maybe you could have just used that common sense. Name the site where Kailash temple curved out from a single rock is located. Now, earlier I told you about UNESCO World Heritage Site being in news. So in continuation of that, they have asked another regarding UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this Kailash temple is located in Ellora Caves. Okay, Ellora Caves were classified as UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1983. Please keep this in mind. And this is one of the most beautiful cave. I think you have all seen it. The curving of the temple began from the top, then it went down to the bottom, and only one rock, basalt rock, they've created the whole temple structure. So this is also the largest single rock excavation in the world. Okay, this is a very important UNESCO World Heritage Site. Please keep this in mind. 58. One of the highlights of Indo-Islamic architecture is Fatehpur Sikri. Okay. Name the Mughal emperor who is credited with its construction. This is very easy. This is Akbar. Fatehpur Sikri was near Agra, right? And he created this as his new capital. If you know Mughal, if you study Mughal, this is very basic part of Mughal dynasty. And in this, he wanted to make it a new capital, and also he wanted to honor a Sufi saint. Even in Sufism, the most popular one was the Chishti. and Chishti were considered to be more secular. So in honor of Sheikh Salim Chishti, this was also created, Fatehpur Sikri. And rulers try to associate themselves with such popular saint, okay, because then they would also be connected with them and their righteousness. So there obviously some political connection to that as well. 59. Which program in India focuses on improving sewage treatment plants, developing river fronts, and monitoring industrial? See, if you look at this, all you go down is Ganga. In Ganga, we have a problem of sewage not being treated properly. Riverfront, see, Narendra Modi came in news in Bihar, in Chhat Puja. There was Ganga, but he created a separate section for his own. Filtered water was put in and he dipped himself there, right, saying that Ganga is clean now. So, such, was it Ganga or Yamuna? Please cross check it. I think it should be Ganga. So such things are done, right? So political stunt, good or bad, that is up to your judgment. But anyways, this all deals with Namami Gange. Please keep this in mind. Now in 60, I'm a little confused, okay, because there is no, see, this is also a very old news, and at the same time there is no direct correlation to what is mentioned here. But I don't think Swachh Bharat will be the right answer, because it's nothing to do with water, securing water, right? Narmada Bachao, no. This also NGO, nothing to do with it. So maybe the most closest answer would be Jal Shakti Abhiyan, but the answer is not direct here. Moving on to 61. By which date does the monsoon normally completely withdraw from the North Indian plain? They're not saying completely withdrawn from India. They're saying from North Indian plain, right? So let's make a rough diagram. So North Indian plain would be somewhere here. So it completely go away. See, it starts going away. If it say it starts going away, then it would be in the September zone. But completely from mid-October. So D is the most appropriate answer here. Question number 62. Which of the following will be in greater demand due to rising deployment of clean energy technologies? Yes, in clean energy technology, we require a lot of battery. Even these days, we talk about clean energy, everything comes down to battery, whether it's electric vehicles, whether it is any kind of powers that are being created by clean fuel, they are stored in batteries. So it is D, lithium. Okay, lithium is used. Now 63. Name the river mentioned in the Rig Veda, which is considered of immense importance for the Indus Valley civilization. Obviously, the most important was Sindhu or Indus, right? But the second that was also found was Saraswati as well. 64. Which legendary Maratha ruler posed the most daunting challenge to the Mughal ruler Aurangzeb by attacking Surat in 1664, the prime Mughal port? Surat was also the wealthiest port back in the days during the Mughal Empire, especially during Aurangzeb rule. And Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, he actually sacked Surat for 6 continuous days. He looted the wealth out of it, and this was such an embarrassing moment for Aurangzeb. And Aurangzeb had to, the local governor ran away. He did not even fight properly. Then he had to send in another general, a Rajput general, to counter Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. It was Jai Singh, okay? Jai Singh was also quite popular. Then later on, they signed a treaty. Then after that, Shivaji Maharaj went to meet Aurangzeb, right, in his court in Agra. Then he was kept under house arrest. Then he fled, right? This was an important story within the Maratha Empire. If you have if you have read even once, maybe this would have been easy for you. Identify the port 6065. Identify the port located near Suez Colombo route. So you see, major ports, minor ports, right? You have to know the name of major ports. Then you have to know what is major, government, minor, private, right? And where are they located. So if you consider this to be India map, first is what? Marmugao. This is near Goa. So this would be Marmugao. Then Kochi is in Kerala. So somewhere it will be here. Paradweep will be all the way in Odisha, somewhere here, right? So here. Kantla will be all the way up here in Gujarat. And Suez Canal would be somewhere up here. Then if it comes, Colombo is in Sri Lanka. So which is the nearest one? It will be Kochi. So B is the most appropriate one. So don't expect direct facts all the time. Sometimes you have to use your common sense and come to such conclusions. Now 66. Which of the following is a key feature of Sanjeevani? So if you read any yearly magazine, this Sanjeevani was mentioned, okay? If you have not done yearly, I mean you should have done yearly, even though you could not do daily and monthly. So in yearly, Sanjeevani is always mentioned. It has nothing to do with education, nothing to do with railway. It is actually to do with providing medical consultation by qualified doctors to far-flung rural areas whereby they are isolated and they cannot get such good facility. So using Digital India to bridge the health divide in the country. So Sanjeevani, very important in your mains as well. You can use this example. 67. A most popular traditional theatre associated with Uttar Pradesh reveres its artist Gulab Bhai. Identify the theatre form. So when there are various theatre form, and in UP, Notanki is the most popular one. So this is also all news. I don't know why they ask. Maybe they're asking in relation to Indian culture, and maybe they wanted to ask something with Notanki, so this was asked. But Gulab Bhai is actually an all news. So still then, in Notanki, what they do is, in open spaces, they would have drama, right? Now there would be male, there would be female, and various other characters. And in this, they are, trying to create some story. There would be somebody will dance, somebody will sing, they will even give dialogues, right? And sometimes they can even tell a story about what's happening in and around. They can even use humor. So it's a very interesting kind of theater. And earlier, even female character was played by male. So in that sense, women did not have importance in Notanki theater. But she was the pioneer, Gulab Bhai. She was the first to take part in Notanki theater. And so she becomes very important when it comes to Notanki. And there's a book as well, Gulab Bhai, the Queen of Notanki theater, right? So a very popular figure. I think you should know these things. And this is part of your culture, right? 68. The earliest non-cave rock art paintings, are found at, in India, it is found in Bhimbetka cave, Madhya Pradesh. Now this is also old news. But in one way, last year in 2024, there was a news in Indonesia that the oldest figurative cave painting was found, and this was 51,200. This was very popular in news. 51,200 years old. This was in an island of Sulawesi in Indonesia. And during that time when it was in news, Bhimbetka also came back in news because it was oldest in India. So if you have kept track of this, maybe you could have done it. But at the same time, like I've said, UNESCO is very important. And this year, NSSB have asked a lot of questions regarding UNESCO. And Bhimbetka is also UNESCO World Heritage Site recognized in 2003. There are so many caves, okay, around 700, and around 400 of them have paintings. Very important. 69. Which department organized the Viksit Bharat Youth, Young Leaders Dialogue National Youth Festival 2025? So it is to deal with youth. So Department of Youth Affairs, option C. What is IB to do with here? Information and broadcasting. Culture, what is it to do with here? School education and literature. No. So option C, very very conclusive, right? 70. The conclave on dialogue for holistic development of livestock sector in the Northeast region 2025 was held in which city? Now, if you know this, you know. If you don't, then you don't know. Okay, this is, I would say it's on the harder side in that sense. It was in Shillong, because in northeast part animal husbandry is not performing very well. So we are trying to promote a livestock sector in northeast part of India. In 2025, who won the Nobel Prize for their work in physics on quantum computing? Actually, in my class as well, when I was doing your general science, I kept telling you, please do Nobel Prize, Nobel Prize. Remember all their names and what did they do? Why did they get that Nobel Prize? So if you have done that, option D is your answer. Now, 72. I've even done in your general science crash course, concave, convex mirror, plane mirror. I've done even lenses as well, right? Its usage, examples. So if you have done this, you would know easily that this is regarding convex mirror, so rear view, because it makes the object, it gets a wider view, and also objects becomes erect, right? They're not inverted. 73. Even this, I actually gave you a very direct answer here. Twinkling of a star is due to, I gave an exact example when I was teaching your general science, and I said it was because of refraction, and particularly what kind of refraction? Atmospheric refraction, right? So option C is your correct answer. 74. Consider the following statement about the fundamental rights in India. I also did fundamental rights properly. So if you have attended the class properly, this should have been very easy. 6 fundamental rights. Right to property was removed, so it has become 6. Now constitutional remedies is Article 32. So this is also correct, this is also correct. Now preamble, in preamble the word secular was added in 42nd. I told you that as well. Preamble was also done properly. Then Article 15 prohibits discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. Yes, this is also correct. So A, B, and D. A, B, and D. C is your correct option. I'm seeing a lot of answer as C as well. Now, moving on to 75. We have to list government schemes with the year of beginning. See, flagship program you should know. Ayushman Bharat, particularly the PMJAY, right? Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. We get 5 lakhs of health insurance. So it was in 2018. You should know this. See, Mission Sagar during COVID-19, it was important because we were giving out vaccines as part of our neighborhood first policy. So this is also Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, right? This is in focus of our neighborhood area. So these two you should have done properly, and maybe if you have known this, you could have deduced the answer. But still, Jandan was also 2014 when Modi came to power for the first time. He was talking a lot about financial inclusion, about bank account, right? So, and Atal pension, this is for unorganized sector. People working in unorganized sector can also get pension benefit, or else only in organized sector, people who are regular employee gets pension. So even for unorganized sector, between the age of 18 to 40, they can fill up through this Atal Pension Yojana and pay a certain premium to get a pension after their retirement age. Now, so this is ABCD. Wherever ABCD exists, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. So option A is your correct option, correct answer. And yeah, so I think this is about it till 75. So today I wanted to focus on the general studies and current affairs part, and also Nagaland. So all this portion, the remaining, some of your other mentors would can do it properly. So I hope you had a very interesting class. All the best, continue doing well, and I wish you all the very best.